bring it in. And it was just, you know, the horror of it was just too impossible to explain in words. So the relationship was getting worse and worse. It was like now on maximum overload. So I said, don't ever come back here again. 7 days later, she comes back again. Now, we're still going through this horribleness on a daily basis, but seven days later, she comes back again. The same thing happens. The same identical thing happens. Same identical thing happens, only it's a different dog. And the same identical set of circumstances comes into the house, violent beyond words, ready to kill me, picks whatever argument there was to pick, buries me into oblivion, walks out of the house, gets in her car, pulls out, leaves the door open, not aware that another dog had gotten out, with the same big dogs that were out, because it's a routine. A certain amount of dogs go out this day, I'll get them in. Another dog gets murdered. But dogs are dogs. That's what they do. The big ones are big, the little ones are little, and when they see little dogs that's not supposed to be there, they're gonna make sure that they tear her to pieces. And I'm saying, Jesus Christ, not again. This is not possible. This is just not fucking possible. And here I am, got another dog with, her ear was on the ground. I had to take her ear with me and bring her inside. And I said, do you realize what you just did? And same scenario. Week number 3, the same identical thing happened again. Dog number 3. These were my babies. These were my children. I love them. They were everything to me. One dog, her name was Christmas, because I got her on Christmas Eve. I rescued her basically from an incinerator for dogs. And Tennessee was, it's a bad state for animal abuse. And she was a collie, Shetland collie. And then there was a Chihuahua mix, and the other one was a lab. So I lost 3 beautiful dogs that I rescued because of someone's intoxication.
So how did that end up with the mugshot? How did you end up being arrested?
This is what will follow. So it was the winter time. She didn't want to be bothered with them, and they were dead because of her. She took full responsibility, oddly enough, in front of my attorney at a later period of time. And also in an email, she took full responsibility to me. About 3 weeks later, in her moment of remorse. So it was too late, 3 beautiful dogs were dead, little souls I loved were dead, and it was winter, the ground was hard, and she didn't want to be bothered with burying them or doing anything, so I wrapped them in blankets, and I had to put them in some kind of a, place where I could put them in a storage tub to rest them, and I had the 3 of them in their own little coffins, and I couldn't bury them until the ground was thawed, and I could get an excavator. I had to get an actual steam shovel to come and dig up the ground to get them buried. So in the meantime, here they are, in the garage, because that was the only place I can keep them. And it was May 21st, the day my world changed forever. She came back, and it was violence on times 1,000. And the day began with violence. drinking, and accusing me of things that I didn't do, and drinking more, and saying, I have a gun and I'm gonna kill you. And she was attacking me a lot with her fists, and I remember having to hold her by the hair to stop her from people have force when they're gonna, do whatever they want to do. Whatever happened, I went upstairs, and to get away from her, she followed me upstairs, and I used to film her all the time on my camera because I said, if I die or she shoots me, nobody's gonna know what this life inside this prison was like. So I filmed her all the time, and she was very happy to perform for this camera. So I've got nothing but video of this insanity that was taking place in this house. And so I knew that day that this is the daytime. I said, my life is about to change today, and I don't know how the fuck it's gonna happen, but today's the day. And she was talking into the camera and said, you pulled my hair and dragged me, but never mentioned anything. There was no blood on her, no nothing. There was just like looking at everybody here. As clean as we all are here, with no blood on us, that's what the camera showed. And what's that? So the camera showed nothing. And I had to film this because I needed some documentation. So this is about 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and I'm leaving. So I'm filming her walking down the stairs, out the door, and she never came back. So it was like looking at anybody else here, looking at you, see you later, I'm out of here, Of course, it wasn't like that, but it was violent, And she walked out the door, and about midnight, she never came back. It was about midnight. And I remember trying to sleep. It was really a horrible day. And all of a sudden, I hear something outside the window, and there was like a flashlight, and there was somebody saying, you need to come out of your house. I'm saying, you need to come out of your house. Mr. Crescendo, you need to come out of your house, something like that. And what? What? And I could not believe what was happening. And I looked out the window, and I see I don't know, it could have been 5 or 6 cop cars out there. There had to be at least 14, 15 police officers there with rifles and guns drawn. And I'm saying, what in God's name, what happened? What's going on? So I walked downstairs, and they frisked me, and I remember asking one of the cops, I said, are you gonna kill me? I was really serious. They said, shut up, no talking. And just get in the car. They handcuffed me, frisked me, and I said, what did I do? Shut up, no talking. So I'm sitting in the back of the car, and I'm handcuffed, and I had no idea why. So got to the police station, and of course they processed me. It was like 3 in the morning, and I'm going, like, what am I doing here? And they told me. So pulled me in a room. You're accused of this and that, and domestic abuse, and blood all over this person, and I'm going. I said, whoa, this is really weird. I said, so do you want to make a statement? I says, no way. I said, if you don't mind, I will not say anything until I talk to my lawyer. So they said, that's fine. So I called my assistant, and I said, can you believe this? So I'm now in a jail cell for something that I have proof that never happened, video proof that never happened. And they said, there's all this blood. I said, blood from what? Well, from this and that. I said, well, I said, really? I said, okay. And I didn't want to say anything. I just said, I'm not going to tell you anything, because when you say I didn't do it, you did it. That's it, you know? So no matter what you say, you did it. So I said, this is, you know, and I watched enough Perry Mason to know that innocent people get accused of crimes that they didn't do. You know, thank God there was a Perry Mason, you know, because all these people that get, you know, convicted, you know, accused of murder, or they're in jail for something that, you know, the cop knows he did, she did, you know, is proof that somebody didn't do it. So I'm in this jail cell, and I'm thinking, my God, I knew my day was going to change forever. Today, I knew it.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting in this jail, and I'm thinking, you know, this is so surreal, and I'm laying in this, you know, really cold, you know, piece of metal, and I'm laying there, and I can't believe this is happening to me. And so they, you know, processed me, and I'm thinking, you know, this is so terrible. It's hard to believe. So it's about 3 in the morning. They take this mugshot. I go back to this. Okay, go back to this. But there was something really interesting happened. I'm trying to sleep. You know, I called my assistant, and I said, you know, this is what happened. She says, don't worry, this alone would be okay. So it was about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, and there's this music blaring all of a sudden out of nowhere. And I says, God, I know that song, you know. And I'm like trying to sleep, and I had a monster migraine headache. And there was nobody helping me. And I said, geez, I don't know what the hell's gonna happen here. And I just hear this music blaring. And it was that time of year. And I said, what the fuck? I said, am I hearing something? And I remember hearing, we love you, Vinnie, don't worry. It was like some of the younger cops. And as it were, you know, I heard somebody yell that. And I said, wow, nobody would believe this, because I don't. So that was my night of something that was so horrible. I got bailed out the next day about noon, and that was the beginning of the end. But in what happened during that last day was, when the police came, so did the animal abuse, ASPCA or whatever came, and found these dogs. And they jumped to the immediate conclusion, you know, immediate accusation. Are these animals abused? Which is something I would jump to, you know? This is something that I would say. You got dogs out here in containers, you know? Who killed them? So she said our bigger dogs killed them. So the authorities took the dogs out and they investigated it, rightly so, and they found out that it was true that, you know, they were killed by other dogs. But yet, because I was Vinnie Vincent, because I was a rock star in a town that hated Kiss, they looked at Kiss as, we don't want you kind here, you know? And that's the way it is and was. So I was already accused of killing these dogs in the media, when in fact it was anything but that. So I was in a bad situation, because now I'm accused of domestic abuse, which I didn't do. Then I'm accused of killing dogs, which I didn't do. So the way it ended was, the videos played the card that said, you didn't do this, Vinnie, and everything ended. And I won't go any farther than that, but that was it. So.
Wow.
I think now you know, and that's exactly the way it happened. So.
I believe you.
Thank you.